if you have in your mind coming up for 2023, this is going to be the year that I turn around my sex life, transform my sex life with my partner, or perhaps this is the year where I actually go and get my erection problems sorted, or that I quit porn, if it's any of those things or others. Okay, the first question is, when would now be a good time to start, rather than waiting? But there's something that we must address before that, and that is the fact that we can't just force ourselves into doing this. Okay, there's a reason why we haven't done it, or there's a reason why we've held back from doing it for a while. And when I'm saying doing it, I mean doing the thing, you know, making the commitment, actually following through. And what I've learned is that if I just try and force things with sheer willpower, if I try and make myself do it, it will give me some results, usually for a period of time, and then those results stop. And then what? Then I feel shame at myself. I feel guilty. Oh, Shay, you couldn't do it. You know, I tried, but I just wasn't able to follow through, and now I don't know if I'm good enough, or, you know, all of these shame sticks will generally always come when we force ourselves into doing something, because that willpower only lasts for a small amount of time. So what do I propose as the alternative? Well, something that I learned through my coaches was to hear the voice that doesn't want the change, or hear the voice that is scared about the change, and to ask myself a few questions. First of all, how do I hear that voice? That may sound a bit strange. Well, I listen. And usually I do that by just taking 5 minutes or so to meditate. And what I mean by meditation is just breathing, closing my eyes, removing distractions. And then I just ask myself, once I feel calm, the question of, what is it that you're seeing that I'm not seeing? Or what is it that you're protecting? What is it that's sacred to you? And I honestly just look for that voice, that part of me that feels the feeling of, oh, when I go to change the thing. But I think I'm just going to use transforming my sex life as an example. When I think about, I really have to do this, you know, I'm going to have to face uncomfortability, I'm going to have to wake the dragon to have the conversations. And the dragon, I don't mean a person, I mean the thing, you know, the actual scary thing that we want to avoid, we don't want to have to talk about, that there may be a problem. And so I look for the part of me that feels that contraction, that feels like, no, it's easier not to have that conversation. And that is the part that I ask the question to. What is it that you're protecting, or what can you see that I can't see? And I just listen. And it's okay if something doesn't come through. The fact that you're listening for that voice and you're showing it that it's valid and that it's welcome is really important. So I know this may sound quite spiritual today, but really we have two options, honestly, when it comes to our commitments. Number one is we force ourselves to do it. And I believe it works sometimes, but most of the time that will only work for a period of time. The second option is that we still make the change, but we first hear the voice, the part of us that doesn't want the change, or that's holding on to something, because that voice needs to be heard and it needs to be understood before we can complete and make the change. And what I mean by complete is, we're in the perfect place to show you. See this wave, the wave, hopefully there's a wave now, this little one here. For that wave to complete, or any others that's coming in, it has to go through the full cycle, right? It has to peak and then roll. I'm just going to use that term because I don't know the technical words. It is the same with our emotions. When we're holding on to something, when we feel like we don't want to change something, it's because there's an unresolved emotion. And so what I've learned and what I've seen that has worked for me, or else I wouldn't be sharing it, is to hear that emotion, to show it that it's welcome, that it's valid, and to understand it, to ask what it wants or what it's protecting. Okay, so that's it today. More of a video to reflect on, something to think about as we wrap up the last few weeks of 2022. But I want to leave you most importantly with that line, when would now be a good time to start? If this is helpful and you would like more tips on commitments, goal setting going into 2023, and most importantly how to reverse erection problems and avoid dead bedroom, below in the comments you'll see the link to the newsletter. So just click on that link and it will take you straight through to the page to be able to sign up for that